My name is Susan Elliott. I'm a professor of medical geography at the University of Waterloo in Canada, and much of my research investigates relationships between environment and health. The project is called Right Life, which is women rise writing their own futures across the life course. And so we are involving women from every age category, including women who are well into their 80s and 90s. So I work with two NGOs, one in Kenya and one in Uganda. The NGO in Kenya is called COHESU, which stands for Community Health and Social Support. And it's an NGO that's been operating for about 15 years, and it focuses on mums and young children, health, social, and economic support. And then the one in Uganda is called ROTOM, or Reach One, Touch One Ministries, and they focus on the health and social care needs of seniors. And a lot of people don't know that sub-Saharan Africa actually has the fastest growing seniors population in the world. And these seniors are raising the next generation. They're raising so many of the grandchildren, and they don't have any resources, no pensions, no health care, and there's no money to send the children to school because in Uganda there is not free primary education. So when this funding call became available, I spoke with both of my colleagues immediately, and I said, this funding is available, tell me what have been the major impacts on the communities, on women, as a result of COVID-19. And they both said without hesitation, teenage pregnancy, because the girls are not in school, and there's been tremendous urban to rural migration, so many people coming back to the villages, so much pressure on women to provide for these growing families, and so much pressure on women and girls to do things like fetch water and cook food for these ever-increasingly large families. And so we are doing three things. We're going to go into both communities and do some surveys and ask the women, just how are you doing? And secondly, we're going to measure their levels of empowerment. And then we're going to take all those data and bring the women back together and say, now that we have all these data, how can we help you? What do these data mean to you? What do you need? The part that excites me the most is we're going to do what are called oral histories. We're going to sit down with the very old, they're called jajas in Uganda, and just ask them about their lives and the different stages of their lives when you were a child, a young girl, a young married woman, a mother, and through all their lives, and find out what happened to them, how they managed and coped through all of that, including political strife, civil strife, wars, droughts, and then put them in charge and say, if you had to do it all over again, or if you were in charge, how would you change things for women and girls? What would make it better? Because those women have so much wisdom and so much knowledge and they have so much power, they just don't realize how much power they have.
And I would like to challenge, while I have the floor, the HPRO with the task of ensuring that all of us have a mechanism for sharing over the next 2 years and beyond, because I don't think any of us are going to be where we really want to be by October 2024. Like a Google Docs or something like that, where we can post conference presentations, policy briefs, draft manuscripts, theses from students, and something with a discussion function, because I think Zulfi's challenge of us doing meta-analysis is a really important one.
Absolutely, and in fact, the empowerment tool that we will use was designed by two young colleagues of mine. I'm very proud to say they were my graduate students, and now they have independent scholarly lives. And it was primarily around water, sanitation, and hygiene. And we've done a lot of work on that, and there's a lot of, I would say, rhetoric in international policy documents that says, oh, if only women had water, they would have so much more time for education and economic activities and so on. But there was no data to support that. And so these young people have actually done studies to ask women, you know, we've gone into communities, we've done interventions, now you have water and sanitation, it's been 3 years. How are you spending your spare time? What are you doing with the extra money that you're not spending to provide water for your families? And indeed, overall, the number one use of that extra time was economic activities. And the second was educational opportunities. But it was different for women and men. So when we asked women specifically, how are you using your extra time? They said, first of all, spending it with their families and spending it with their children. And then secondly, economic activities, and thirdly, educational opportunities. When we asked, what are you doing with your extra money? Not that there was lots, but there was a little. The first response was healthcare, and the second was food. So by empowering women, even through the provision of safe water and adequate sanitation, they are actually building up their families and their communities. So it has really, really strong co-benefits beyond just them as women.